Oh, where can they be? With their hair so short and their tails so long. Oh, where can they be?
Good morning. This is CSA 70, TV4, TV5, Community Interest Television Programming. And I'm your host, George Morang. And today we're going to meet at the 29 Palms Animal Shelter to talk to Diana Orozco and members of her staff about their care of animals in the 29 Palms area. So let's go now and meet the animals. Come on. And guess where we are right now? Yes, we're in the cat room of the 29 Palms Animal Shelter, and I'm visiting with Diana Orozco, who is the managing director of the animal shelter. Diana, what's the name of the animal shelter?
Palms and Paws Animal Shelter.
And where are we right now?
We are in the cat room. The stray cat room is what we call it. This is where we bring, keep our cats that people bring in from out in the streets or people find.
Mm-hmm. And they can call in and tell you that they have a stray cat in?
We usually keep a lost book. It's called a lost and found book. When someone loses a pet, we do, they call us and we put their names and the description of the animal in our book. And if the cat that comes in fits the description of the person that reported it missing, then we call them and they come down here and identify it.
How long do you keep the cats?
We keep them for 3 days if they have no identification, 10 days if they have any kind of identification, you know, with their name or phone number. After the 3 and 10 days, we do place them up for adoption as long as they stay healthy.
How do you do on the adoption?
We do really good. Our adoption rate, they're pretty high.
Oh, that's good to hear. What did you consider the main mission of the animal shelter?
Finding them homes. Basically finding them all homes.
And where do you get them in most cases, stray animals?
We do get a lot of owner turn-ins. A lot of them are just strays running the streets.
Mm-hmm. And they're reported by the citizens that...
Right, yes. They are reported by the citizens. They call us and they tell us there's a stray animal in their front yard or backyard. Whatever.
How do you catch the animals?
We have an animal control officer that goes out there and she'll catch them. You know, she'll just put a leash on them, tries to talk to them, and you know, and if she's not able to catch them, she does set a humane trap where it catches the animal.
Where you put some food in a case?
It's a bait. We usually use canned dog food.
What? I was going to ask, what canned dog food do you use? Well, cat food.
I'm sorry?
My cats are getting a little bored with the cat food, I think. So I was wondering if you had any recommendations.
Well,
Not by brand.
Well, as far as cat food?
Yeah. Just a canned cat food?
Yes.
Anything off the shelf? They're all pretty well nutritionally balanced.
They eat pretty, yeah.
I bring that up because all your animals here look so good that it shows the kind of care they're being given here. Can we take a look at one of the cats?
This is Motor.
Oh, why is he called Motor?
He was found under a car and he was full of motor oil.
Oh. And how'd you get the motor oil off?
We bathed him several times with mineral oil. Oh, honey.
Nice and affectionate.
Yeah.
Well, he seems to have survived the experience very well.
Yeah, so now we're trying to find him a home.
And his name is Motor.
His name is Motor. We give all our animals here names when they come into the shelter so we can identify them on who they are.
I noticed that you have an advertisement in the local paper listing the animals by name and picture that you have up for adoption. Okay, nice to have met you. I have to be strong. And this is the quietest cat you got in here.
Yeah, this is a bunny here. This here's a little rabbit that we got in, and he's also looking for a home.
Oh, and what's his name? Bunny Rabbit?
Floppy.
Floppy, okay. Okay, Floppy. Now, if these are the stray cats, or what did you call
The
them?
stray cats.
Stray
yes.
cats. What are the other classifications?
Once their release date's up, we put them in our cat room. It's right next door to this one, and we vaccinate them. And
These have not been vaccinated or spayed
no,
or
they
neutered?
can't. We can't do anything with them until they become ours.
Oh, I see.
Right.
Could we take a look at
Sure.
the other room? And where are we now, Diana?
This is our cat room. This is where we put the stray cats that are ready to go home, that are looking for homes.
And these cats are all spayed and neutered?
Most of them are. If they're not spayed and neutered, they will be before they go home.
Well, certainly the cats look in beautiful condition, and it speaks very highly of the kind of care and attention that you give them.
Well, we try our best. We do try to keep them healthy. Since, a lot of them don't have vaccinations, or we don't know if they've had any vaccinations, but they stay pretty healthy.
I'm impressed how relaxed they are, because apparently there's a degree of socialization.
Yeah. Right now, these are all adult cats, so they're a little bit, more mature. If there was a kitten here, it'd be jumping all over the place. So.
Okay, well, thank you very much. Where can we go next?
We can go ahead and I can show you the dog where we keep the dogs, the kennels in the back. It will get a little bit loud back there, so.
We'll know where we are
Yeah.
then. Thank you. Let's go see that. It's so nice and quiet in here. Whoops.
You spoke too soon.
I'd hazard a guess that we're in the dog row at the moment.
Yeah, they do get excited when they hear people's voices in here.
They all want to be adopted, don't they?
This is these are all the dogs on this side are up for adoption. We have another side over there, what we call also the stray side, and those dogs are lost dogs or owned dogs that are waiting for the owners to pick them up.
Oh, I see. And they, how are the owners notified that you have the dog here?
If they do have ID tags, we do call them, or like I said, we do have a lost and found dog book also.
And if somebody wants, like the cats, if somebody wants to adopt a dog, they can come up here?
Right, they can come up and see what we have, and we get the paperwork ready, and we get them ready for their spay neuters, and we find them home.
I noticed that each of the cages has a number on it, and you had a board outside there.
Right, we do have them numbered. We did have paperwork on them, but they did start chewing them up, so we started this cork board out there where they have their information, and people can see what they kind of dogs they are and how.
Are you able to identify them as breeds and that sort of thing?
Yes, we do. We are. Most of the time we get mixed breeds, and sometimes, well, a lot of times we do get purebreds also.
Do the dogs stay in here all the time, or do they have a place to run?
No, they do have a place to run outside. Rick is our kennel technician, and he's right over there. And
Hi, Rick. George Morang.
Hi, how you doing, George?
Nice
Good.
to see you.
he's our kennel technician, and he's the one that lets them out to play and
You
care of them.
take the animals out to walk
Yeah,
them?
we
and
take
so
them
forth?
out. We let them get some free time outside. Let them go to the bathroom and what they got to do.
Could we see some of the dogs in the yard?
We can take a walk on back.
Thank you. Hi, Rick.
Hi, how you doing?
This is the exercise yard, and I see that we have a friend with us.
Yeah, this is Elias. This was an owner turn-in that the people were moving, couldn't take him along, so they brought him here, and now he's placed up for adoption. He's a 2-year-old Malamute Shepherd. Here, Elias. Come here, Elias.
Come on.
Come here. This is Elias right here.
Get him to bring his toy over. There, come on.
Come on, Elias. It's a good dog, just one
Yeah.
of many that are looking for homes.
How much chance do you have to bring them out here for exercise?
We try to bring them out as much as possible. We do take volunteer applications, and a lot of times the volunteers will take them out and play with them, spend some time with them. But we try to get them out about twice a day, once in the morning, once in the afternoon. That way they can come do their thing. We got 3 acres of land right here, so they got a lot of room to run.
Oh, so they're let out into this
Yeah,
other
they're out
yard.
into the big yard.
Generally speaking, I noticed that the dogs in there, a lot of them seem to get along pretty well together. You have 2 or more in a kennel together.
Yeah, a lot of them do. A lot of them adapt very well here.
Is this typical of males or females or a mix or what?
We got to keep the unaltered males away from each other. They will fight because they're territorial. But other than that, if we could put two altered animals in a cage, you know, they usually get along great.
About how many dogs do you have here now?
Right now we got, let me see, probably about 40, 45 dogs. We got about 27 adoptable dogs, and we got about 13 strays right now.
And when will, how many days do they usually stay here?
They stay as long as they could stay healthy, as long as we could adopt them out, they stay adoptable. We keep them. We've had a dog here since I've been working here. We had a dog one time for 11 and a half months. So it's all on if the dog stays happy and healthy.
And what kind of dogs seem to be the most popular from the public point of view, or do they just select it by his individual personality?
The most populars are probably the Rottweilers, the Shepherds. A lot of people like the lap dogs. A lot of the older people like the lap dogs, the little dogs they could spend time with and stuff.
Are the Rottweilers taken as guard dogs, do you think?
Most of them are, yes. Yes.
But most of them seem to be pretty gentle pets.
Yeah, a lot of people like the Rottweilers for intimidation reasons, you know. They could have them in their front yard and not worry about somebody coming in and doing whatever they're doing, but...
Yes, I had a big dog once, but it really didn't convince anybody.
Yeah, yeah.
No, she sounded good.
Most all the Rottweilers I've seen in here have been real gentle dogs.
What are the other duties that you have to do around here?
Well, I keep the kennels clean. I clean them in the mornings from 8 to 12. From 12 to 5, I help the general public. We try to keep the kennels clean, keep the diseases out of the kennels, try to keep the dogs happy and healthy.
I noticed how clean all the animals are. Do you bathe them occasionally? Yeah,
they do get bathed. If they're real dirty, we do bathe them, and that's another thing that the volunteers help us with, is bathing.
Can I bring one of my dogs up?
Sure, sure. Help yourself.
Very nice, Rick. I was pleased to meet you. And
thanks. Nice meeting you, too.
And the beautiful animals here.
Thanks.
Hi, continuing our visit to the animal shelter, I'm with Tiffany Shields, who is the animal control officer.
That is correct.
And what are your duties?
Well, as the city, my actual title is Community Resources Officer, so I have animal control responsibilities as well as code enforcement. But in animal control, my responsibilities are to enforce the ordinances, state and city ordinances, regarding animal care and control.
If you see animals mistreated and so forth, do you have a function to perform then?
Yes, definitely. We follow the state guidelines for cruelty, and I have successfully convicted felony animal cruelty before.
And that's part of that mission of the animal shelter here, is to shelter animals and to protect them.
Yes, that's true. But another important part is education. Our attempts is to educate the public about how to properly care for your animals, and then, you know, through education, then the animals won't be mistreated.
Do you have any particular educational programs communicate to the public?
We do go into the schools. If the schools call us and request information, or they'd like one of us to come in and talk to the kids about properly caring for their animals, we do that.
And then the kids can talk to their parents and say, I heard how you're supposed to do it.
Right. You know, and that's good, though. If the children know the dog needs water every day before I go to school, then at least somebody is giving that dog water before they go to work in the morning or go to school in the morning. And so there's nothing wrong with starting with the kids.
Yes, that's very true. Do you have some thoughts, too, on spaying and neutering the animals?
Yes, we do. Our whole mission, you know, the pet overpopulation problem is huge. It's astronomical. And the main thing is spaying and neutering. That is the solution. There is a solution to this problem. And many people feel, oh, well, my dog's purebred. Well, this is a beautiful purebred Shih Tzu, and he's here in our shelter. 1/4 of all the animals coming into the shelter are purebred, and some are euthanized. Spaying and neutering can solve that. If you breed your dog and you say, well, I have homes for all 8 puppies. Well, those are 8 puppies that are in our shelter who need homes also, and they could be adopted from the shelter. When you bring more puppies into the world, you're taking those homes away from those animals.
That certainly is a very important message to bring to the children and to the public at large, the importance of spaying and neutering, so that the animals will not have to go to animal shelters in many cases. But still, you're here in case there are injured or abandoned animals.
Right, that's correct.
And How do you get the animals? You get called by the public that there is a lost animal or abandoned animal?
Yeah, the public can call us and let us know that they have a stray animal confined or that it's running their neighborhood, that sort of thing. If we're just out patrolling and we see animals that are running loose, we do pick them up.
And all the animals should have licenses, right?
Yes, in the city of 29 Palms, we do have mandatory licensing. All animals, even if they're not licensed, please put a collar on them, ID tag. 90% of the animals with tags on go home. If they have tags on, it's an automatic 10-day hold. Otherwise, we only hold them 72 hours. So dogs with tags, even if the tag isn't valid, we hold it for 10 days. So you have 10 days to be looking for your animal. So having a collar and ID tag is most important. Just a collar doesn't work. It has to be a collar and an ID tag. And of course you want to keep your animal licensed. That also helps in finding the dog, getting it back home if it is picked up.
And these license fees and so forth are used to help support the costs of the shelter.
The licensing fees support the shelter. That is our only source of income. This is a non-profit shelter. That is our only way to support the shelter.
How do you suggest the public should, in case they do have a lost or stray dog, communicate with you that they have one, and what can they do to make it easier for you to pick the dog up?
Well, they can call us, give us an exact address, and give us the closest cross street, and we will send someone out there. We ask that they please be patient with us. I'm the only animal control officer, and I'm only half an animal control officer, so it's important that people be patient and realize we will be there as soon as we possibly can.
How do you actually pick the animals up? A dog is running around in the neighborhood. Aren't they rather difficult to catch?
Well, most people think you're a dog catcher, that I'm out chasing dogs. I never chase a dog. Never. If they're not going to come to you, you're not going to catch them. You would be out of breath, and there's no way you're going to catch them. I usually stop and call them to me. Sometimes it takes a long time. Sometimes it doesn't. The confined strays, of course, are the easiest, and if we cannot catch them, we use dog traps. They're humane traps that are like cages that the dog will enter. They step on the release, and it closes behind them. So it's humane, and it's just like a cage, and we bring them to the shelter in the cage.
I see. And when the dog is brought back here, then it is held at the animal shelter in one of the pens?
That is correct. We hold them for 72 hours. Unless they have a collar and ID tag on, then we hold them for 10 days. After that time period, the dog becomes ours legally. So it's up to us after that. The dog will either be put up for adoption or euthanized.
I see. And is there anything else in particular that you think you'd like the public to understand about the function of the animal shelter?
Well, one of the things I think is really important is that the public understand that we are here because we love animals. We're not here because we hate them. We're not here because we like putting animals to sleep. We're here because we love them and we care about them. And we have a deeper understanding of them, which is why we are able to put them to sleep. We feel it's better than having them needlessly suffer, to starve to death, to die on a chain in the heat, to be hit by a car and die slowly on the side of the road. All those things are awful, and we're here to protect them from that.
Certainly, from what we've seen here today, the way that you handle the animals, and Rick handles the animals, and Diana handles the animals, and the condition of the animals and their attitude, it's very evident that this shelter here is based on love of animals and concern for their well-being. Do you run into any conditions of illegal pets? Are there such a thing?
Yes, that is true. You are not allowed to own our native desert tortoise without a fish and game permit. The city of 29 Palms considers wolf hybrids to be exotic animals, and you are required to have an exotic animal permit, which runs $117. That includes potbelly pigs. Sometimes we've had pygmy goats. That we consider those exotic animals because you're not allowed to have agriculture animals in a residential zone. So you have to also have the exotic animal permit for those two animals also. Also, ferrets are illegal. Some people have thought that they're becoming legal or that they are legal, but they currently are not legal. They're illegal in the state of California. Buddy. And So please do not have ferrets. The worst thing about having a ferret when they're illegal is you can't get them the proper veterinary care. They need to be spayed and neutered. They need to be descented. They need to have vaccinations, and the vets are required not to treat them. So why have an animal that you can't properly care for?
Do you ever pick up any very unusual animals like snakes or lizards or whatever?
Yes, I sure do. I go out on rattlesnakes. I recently picked up a 9-foot Burmese python. So we have a lot of things like that. And in the case of the python, the gentleman was not allowed to have it where he was, and it got turned over to me. I picked up other exotic snakes where they're not allowed. And so if you're not allowed to have it, please don't get it, because, then it's homeless.
Am I to understand from what you say that if there is a rattlesnake in my yard, I can give you a call and you can come out and help me with it?
Yes, mostly if they're in the house, that is considered an emergency. You can call 911, the sheriff's department will page me. I will be there. I will remove the snake. If it's during regular business hours and it's out in the yard, even if it's a non-venomous snake that's in the house, I will respond and come out and get it. Mostly what I do is remove it, and I take it to some place far away from people and re-release it. We don't keep them, and we don't hurt them.
I'm glad to hear that the snakes are a valuable asset to our rodent control in this area.
We even have snake rescue, so if they're injured, we call snake rescue. We picked up a baby sidewinder once. He was only about this big, and we turned him over to snake rescue, and he's growing big, and he's doing well.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Who do we have here?
This is our mascot, Boss Hog.
So this is not just Palms and Paws, it's Palm, Paws, and Hooves.
Yep, it sure is.
And how did you acquire Mr. Hooves?
He was running stray. He was picked up running loose in the city limits of Twin and Palms.
What kind of a pig is he?
He's a Vietnamese potbelly pig, and we've had him neutered and detusked to make him a good pet. Because if they're not neutered and detusked, they don't make good pets, and he's also very hungry all the time.
Why aren't they good pets if they're not...
Because they're just like normal pigs. I mean, they root, and they'll tear up your yard, they'll tear up everything, and they're kind of like unaltered male dogs. They tend to embarrass you in front of company, put it that way.
You mean he's house trained?
In particular, he's not, but they can be house trained.
Do they make nice pets?
That's according to opinion. But they can if they're well cared for.
Are they?
Responsibility. If you give them enough attention and stuff, they make really good pets.
They're quite. They have quite a personality, though.
Yes, he does.
And quite a will of his own.
Yes.
They do have minds of their own.
Yeah.
When it comes to food.
What's his name?
Boss Hog. Boss Hog? He's our boss.
Oh, Boss Hog. Okay. Thank you very much.
And please remember, in the words of my favorite king, Bob Barker, please have your pets spayed or neutered. Keep them fully vaccinated and licensed. Thank you.
Away.